Oddly specific game glitch. It was a hyper specific game glitch.
That's most of the glitches in Pokemon, though, because like the
Yeah,
missing note,
nearly.
because like doing the missing note glitch requires you to talk to the guy who needs his coffee, get him to show you how to battle a Rattata, and then you immediately fly from that while your battle data is still him with the Rattata over to Cinnabar Island. And by going to the right side of Cinnabar Island, the game never gets a chance to load anything else into the battle data except that Rattata. And so it gets a mismatch and then goes for Pokemon number 0 instead of
Mm-mm.
Pokemon number 1. Or no, it goes for everything above 151.
It goes very specifically to 251, but it doesn't exist, so it goes for 152, which again doesn't exist. So
And so
then
you
it
get the
defaults to
filler data
0,
Pokemon.
and then it defaults to 0. It defaults to specifically no data, and again, it doesn't exist. So then it just mashes a whole bunch of Pokemon together, and it's like, hey, here you go. Is this
That's how
good?
you get the Kangaskhan with 2 water guns and 1 sky attack.
If you use a Sky Attack, your game breaks.
Yep.
Because the game doesn't know how to. Nerds.
He's a fucking he's a Kangaskhan that has Articuno's fucking icon in your party too.
It's it's
It's so
a
weird.
it's a Kangaskhan with Articuno's icon with both Squirtle's and Moltres' loadout. And if you try and use the fourth move, your game crashes and it's corrupted forever. If you use Sky Attack, your game will freeze, then you reload the game, and the Kangaskhan won't be a Kangaskhan anymore. Good times.
Hey Saki,
What?
I knew there was a reason I liked you.
Oh, it wasn't because of my thick dumpy? What?
I mean, don't get me wrong, you're drop dead gorgeous. But I also like being able to talk about stuff like this with you. It's little random shit. So the trainer flies glitch uses the special stat of the next encounter after flying or teleporting from a long range trainer. Well, that's Red Joker. That's how
So,
the missing Joe glitch. That's how the missing no glitch works.
so the way the game functioned is it would take stored data such as the static Rattata fight from the old man. It would load it, and because that fight is only supposed to happen by the old man, what would happen is, so when the game references capable game data, first it searches your zone. So in this case, Cinnabar Island. However, Cinnabar Island in the code has 0 encounters.
Yep.
So when you fish from Cinnabar Island, it references nearby water locations.
Yeah, references the islands that Articuno's from.
When you
Seafoam Islands.
surf on the edge that is both Cinnabar and the water, like when you're surfing on land, that weird graphical bug, it doesn't know what to do because you are surfing on land and it doesn't know how to do that. But what it does do is, because you are surfing, it tries to get the nearest match of battle data that you have. So it's like, hey, I have this data I can reference. And so it references the Rattata fight. However, that fight can't happen. Not in the game, not legally at least. And so it tries to reference the nearest thing to that fight. And the way the Rattata fight is coded is it's it's stored as like byte data 190 or something. So it then tries to reference the nearest Pokemon that is encounterable. I say encounterable with really big ass quotes.
Yeah, because
Um,
it's literally fishing through a bunch of junk data.
yeah, and so what it does is it pulls on filler data that what were going to be Pokemon, but they just kind of left there. What these were at the time were test Pokemon. They used Missigno. They used Missigno, Move Kangaskhan as it's known, and Bug Magikarp as as move tests, right? So they would, put water gun on Kangaskhan, see if it does the proper damage, references how much damage it does, and then they would tweak the data a little bit. And that's how they coded nearly every single move in the game.
They just
Um,
did water gun again.
yeah, they just kept referencing how much damage stuff like water gun does and whatnot, and then redoing the attack with like fire and flying and psychic and all that stuff. Well, they didn't delete that code. So it was stored as a Pokemon. And the game the game was fine with it, it's just that the one and only cat girl socialist VTuber
Oh my
Cirrus.
god, Cherry. Fucking hi. To do a quick interruption, not interrupt. I mean, it is interruption, but also introduction. Cherry, there used to be my editor.
Mhm.
They're a very good friend of mine, and they are also editor for Xander Hall and another streamer that I'm not sure I'm technically supposed to say. So I'm just gonna be
Brag
coy
about
about
it.
it.
They they
um,
they edit for another VTuber or streamer,
well, not a VTuber, another politics tuber.
another
Um,
streamer.
yeah. Uh, but yeah, Cherry's a really good bean.
Hello, Cherry. Welcome to the stream. Game Freak was never ever good at coding. So, fun fact, the only reason Pokemon exists is because the three people who started Game Freak and pitched it to Nintendo were like, hey, look at this cool fucking drawing I made of this monster.
I mean, there's one aspect of that that's missing too. We can't forget the power of autism.
They.
The creator of Pokemon